Now let's get into CANSPAM requirements. Accurately identify the sender in the header information. Here is an example of what a sender looks like properly in the header of an email. Use a subject line that accurately represents the content of the email. Now this one is important to differentiate from having intrigue. One of the tips for writing good subject lines is to use intrigue or some form of catchy phrase. This doesn't mean, however, that you will mislead the reader by giving false information regarding the email, what the email is intended to do. Here's an example. You can see here that Grammarly is giving me some intrigue in the subject line, but is still keeping their brand on my mind as they write this subject. That you will see later, that is a very crucial step to writing a good subject line. Next up in the CANSPAM requirements, you must identify the message as an advertisement unless the subscriber has opted in explicitly. Here's an example of how Udemy lets me know that I have actually expressed consent prior to them sending me this email. That's a great way to make sure your subscribers don't feel confused as to why they're receiving your emails, to tell them how and why they signed up to begin with. Next up, include a physical mailing address. This is an example of a mailing address. It typically is at the bottom of the email. However, there are no requirements as to where in the email it should be. Provide a mechanism to opt out. That is very crucial. Do not forget this step. Having an unsubscribe button is as you can see, is one of the legal steps to writing an email. And in Marketing Cloud, you actually typically have an email preference center where you can manage all of your subscriptions or a one-step unsubscribe. The sixth step is to honor the opt-out mechanism. That must be within 10 days, and it must work for at least 30 days after the subscriber has unsubscribed. Here are some of the opt-out mechanisms. The one-click unsubscribe, or Profile Center Manage Profile. In that case, the subscriber will check boxes for each publication, which are lists, as you will learn within the data management chapters. Or the subscriber chooses to unsubscribe from all. When a subscriber chooses one-click unsubscribe, on the other hand, they only get unsubscribed from that particular publication list that the email is coming from. So this is typically a question on the exam. It is to know whether the subscriber should one-click unsubscribe or use the manage profile option, or whether they got the results that they were expecting. You should know that the one-click unsubscribe only takes them out of the one list. If they want to unsubscribe from all, they must go inside of their profile center. Then there is master unsubscribe and global unsubscribe, both of which are outside of the user's reach and are typically on the administrative side or maybe the marketer side. Global unsubscribe is not available even to those admins sometimes, because it means the subscriber is banned for taking out, suppressed, etc. from all lists that are within all of Marketing Cloud. Master unsubscribe is from all the lists of a particular account or maybe that organization. So now let's have a quick summary of CANSPAM. Accurately identify the sender in the header information. Number 2, use a subject line that accurately represents the content of the email. Number 3, identify the message as advertisement unless the subscriber has opted in. Number 4, include your physical mailing address. Number 5, provide a mechanism to opt out. And number 6, honor those opt-outs promptly. Now let's go and check your understanding so far before we go on with some good email design practices.